Welcome to Source BMX. I'm Van Homan. We're here at the Wheel Mill in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with trail legend Clint Reynolds, and we're going to take a look at his S&M Credence CCR build. Before we dive into the specifics of this frame and this bike in general, you were designing and building Credence frames prior to your partnership with S&M. How did this dream team of Clint Reynolds and Chris Moeller come together, and what does it help you guys accomplish by being as a team?
I was living in Stu Johnson's backyard in a trailer, little Airstream, and I think Chris saw me riding at Texas Toast, and Stu kind of just connected the dots between me and Chris, and I went out to S&M and we built a bike together, and it was pretty much through Stu, and pretty stoked how it's worked out.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you and Chris are both geniuses when it comes to designing bikes, and I think maybe your know-how and your intuition combined with his resources were able to just make Credence onto a whole new plateau. Is that correct?
Yeah, totally. I was basically building bikes out of my dad's garage just for my friends, you know, and just kind of like what my father did. He was like a frame builder, and I helped him build bikes when I was growing up, and we were into BMX, so we built some BMX bikes, and that's how Credence came about. Never really made money on the bikes. Not that we really make much on the bikes now, but now that S&M's been involved for so long, people are, the bikes are around to get, like, as when I was just building them, you couldn't really get them or like support the brand. So it's like, it's cool to see, like at the Wheel Mill, there's like so many of the bikes out here and everybody's ripping them. Really cool.
Clint, so obviously your signature CCR frame is a trail machine. What's most important to you when designing a bike?
Yeah, I guess the geometry is really the base of like where you want to start and how you want the bike to ride. And this bike is kind of set up for going fast and being stable and for riding trails. So that's what I like to do, and that's what this bike is designed to do. So
Clint, one thing I noticed about this frame that differs from a lot of frames today is that you have on the weld-on brake mounts. A lot of bikes have the removable mounts. How does this make the bike better in your opinion?
I always ride brakes, so it's just another part that won't like wiggle loose on you, or the brakes always seem a little just stiffer with a welded on mount. This is like the exact bike I would want to ride. There's like no compromise really with the design for like the masses, you know, like.
No, I like that. So the idea is to make this bike for a very specific kind of rider, as opposed to trying to get this bike in the hands of every street rider or park rider. It's like, if you ride brakes, you know you run brakes, it's going to be stiffer, it's going to be better, and you're going to want this frame. So while we're on the topic of brakes, I noticed you have a full fly setup. You've got the fly lever, the fly calipers, you know, really clean. Obviously everything Fly does is really sleek and stylish. What do you like about this brake setup?
I just put these brakes on maybe like just a couple days ago. They're kind of designed to work with the routing on this bike has the cable routed through the C-tube, and some brakes aren't really set up to work that well with that, but these brakes work pretty good with that. So I actually ordered some parts, and then Sergio sent me a message and was like, "Oh, I saw you ordered some stuff," and they sent me out like a whole little kit. So thanks, Sergio, for hooking it up. So I've only been riding them for like 2 days, so so far so good. They're dialed.
Let's talk about your steering. You have the Credence turtleneck stem, which seems to be inspired a little bit by the classic S&M Challenger stem. What have you changed or morphed in order to make this better, in your opinion?
Yeah, I always loved the Challenger stem. It was kind of like all the trail guys really like that stem, but there was a few things where it was just kind of like an old school, kind of like chunkier design, and we just basically it's like the same stem, but just like modernized with like just slimmed down, a little sleeker. The holes don't go like all the way through the back here, and then it's, instead of like externally relieved, it's like has like a little internal cutout to save some weight. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked on it.
So Clint, you've got the Credence XL bars, 9.25 rise. Why do you choose these bars, and what do we need to know about them?
Yeah, these bars are pretty sweet. Been riding them for a long time. Not like the biggest bar, not the smallest bar, but just like a super clean, simple bar with like a little smaller crossbar, so it's a little sleeker maybe, and just a classic bar that's I don't know, feels good. Like the radius when these bars first came out, this radius was like a slightly different, like mellower radius, which was kind of like a new thing. But besides that, it's pretty standard. Just two-piece bar, classic.
Cool. No, so the mellow radius kind of helps it less likely to bend, and I think this smaller top tube kind of almost gives it like a race-inspired vibe. Do you think?
Yeah, totally. I always liked they had S&M made a race bar, like the XL T bar or something, and I always just liked that smaller crossbar. So I was like, oh, let's do that on this bar, try it out. So
The S&M pitchfork, probably the most proven and trusted fork in BMX. You're running a 26 millimeter offset and the wide mouth version. What do you like about the offset, and how does the wide mouth help out?
yeah, everybody's kind of like riding bigger tires, and the wide mouth accepts the big tire, so feels good on the concrete and the trails. And yeah, it's just a classic, simple, clean fork, strong, and tried and true.
So what about the 26 millimeter offset? Maybe it's a little on the mellower side, actually, huh?
Yeah, I guess it's a little more stable. I'm not really, I don't know, doing nose wheelies or anything, or it's kind of just keeping the bike stable at speed, and feeling comfortable with that. And this is good. This is good for me.
So Clint, tires. You've got the S&M track mark in the back and the S&M mainline up front. Why do you have two different tires? What sizes are they? What tire pressure do you like to run?
Riding about like 69 psi. No. I like 80 psi in the back, and then maybe just a hair under 80 in the front. And this is kind of like a race tire in the back, so it's like really light, and just really grabs on the concrete. And this is more of like a dirt tire in the front, and kind of reminds me of like the classic like V-Monster and Dirt Monster feel, and that's what like I used to run back in the day. And then it's kind of like the same feel, but just like a little bigger size. And it's awesome. Yeah, I've been riding it for years, and it's awesome on concrete and dirt. So
All right, Clint, you're keeping it classic with these parts. So let's talk about your drivetrain. You've got the profile cranks. What do you like about the profile cranks?
oh man, they've just the classic, simple, clean design, made in America. Just a classic, clean crank that like can't go wrong with, really. So
Yeah, so I noticed you ride the traditional profile cranks versus some of the beefier versions that they make. So you feel like these are very suitable for like your style of riding? You don't have any problems with them?
yeah, I'm just riding the trails. I'm not really landing too hard usually, and these are plenty strong for what I do. So
Not jumping off any cliffs, so these keep it light and sleek. So another nod to classic BMX, you have the S&M railed seat. With all the modern technology, pivotal posts and tripods and all these things, why do you still stick with the railed seat?
I just like the look of it, and it's just classic look and feel. And I kind of like how the railed seat, it's kind of like a saddle where it's like it kind of has a little give right there when you sit on it, so it kind of like is like a hammock. As like the pivotal, it's kind of just like
Rigid.
yeah, rigid right where the scrotum is. So
That's a good point. I never thought about it. Would you rather sit on a hammock or a board?
yeah. So that's kind of how I feel. So
Never saw that perspective. That's interesting. S&M hammock seat. You've got the Profile Elite hubs laced to the G Sport rims. The Profile Elite hubs seem to be a choice of many pros these days. What do you like about these hubs?
they're just like really good quality. I've had these for I don't even know how many years, and they're still like they just feel fast and crispy feel.
Elite hubs like also have like many points of engagement. Is that something you notice when you ride, like no skipping or slipping?
Yeah, they're always everything's just like nice and tight, and it's like a louder hub, so it's kind of like
You feel cool when you're rolling through the trails.
pretty cool.
What about the rims? You got the G Sport rims.
Yeah, I've been riding these rims forever, and they're super strong. At Odyssey sent them out to me a while ago, and they're pretty bomb-proof. So, yeah, they're pretty light and strong. So,
So what about this yarn? Where did you get this yarn?
that's twine. I don't know. I just been twining my cable there. My buddy Joel, he was like my best friend. He like helped me start Credence, and he always did that. So it's kind of like a little reminder, and it kind of makes it like gives it a little flex so you don't get a kink in your cable. Like if you got a hard mount right there, the cable always kinks. So this just allows it to like flex around a little. So when I'm doing T-whip.
Tail whips?
Not really, no. But some fly out one here and there.
What about these grips, Clint? What kind of grips are we rolling on this thing?
These are my signature grips. The Clint Reynolds grip. It's kind of like almost like a Hoder grip and a ODI long neck merged and like had a baby.
So you took the best parts of two grips that you enjoyed, and here we go. It feels nice. Clint, that pretty much wraps it up. Is there anything else you feel like the people should know about your bike?
Oh man, I love my bike. I think it's the best bike I've ever had. So they keep getting better. And thanks to S&M and Relic and Empire and all the good people in the scene. Keeping the stoke up.
All right, we'd like to thank Clint Reynolds for sharing his CCR build with us today. Make sure to check out the bike builder on sourcebmx.com to see all the parts that Clint's riding. There you can get the specs, the pricing, and the availability. sourcebmx.com. There you go.